up, guys? Welcome to another episode. So I've got something that I need to confess to you guys that I did that was really stupid. So this is the third time I have gone out to record this vlog because I'm a dumbass. Basically what happened was I used a GoPro on the side of my helmet to record my video and to get some of the background noise, and then I use a voice recorder that's mic'd up into my helmet to get the audio for me, spewing shit. Well, basically what happened was I recorded the vlog and the audio for the voice part was just real shit. Like, you couldn't hear anything. I just sounded really far away, and you could only hear me talking when I was at a red light. And so I was like, well, I must have had my mic positioned wrong or something dumb. So I go back out to record it again, same thing, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? Well, I got back the second time and I started looking, and I realized what I was doing was there's two ports on the audio recorder. One is for headphones and one is for a mic. And I was plugging it into the headphones jack like a big old retard, basically. So you could only hear me when I was like not moving. Basically the mic wasn't picking anything up. The onboard mic on the actual thing itself was. So anyway, that's what's been going on. That's why it's taken me a little while to figure out. I just haven't had a lot of time to ride. I went out of town this past weekend, and I just haven't had a lot of time. Plus, it's been raining. Been a bunch of storms, I think, coming up from like Mississippi into Georgia, and I think I might get rained on tonight too. But it was nice right now, and it rained a little earlier today, but it feels pretty good. So I figured I'd come out and ride. Oh, this is the times I wish I was just a badass and would get around people, but anyway. So, the topic for this vlog is about how I lost my permit for my motorcycle and how I ended up getting it back and all the shit I had to go through to get it. So, basically, when I had my Ninja 250 in college, I had my permit, which means you can drive from like 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. or something. You can't have passengers, basically. But that's all I ever really needed, and I didn't really obey the law about not driving after dark. So I was like, I don't really care about getting my license. And then I sold my bike before I ever got my license. I just had my permit. And I think when you have a permit in South Carolina, it expires after, I guess, sure, go ahead. It expires after like a year. Or some really short time, maybe it's 6 months, I don't really know. But anyway, it expired before I got another motorcycle. So the next summer or whenever, I was ready to go get my 600. I was ready to buy it, and I knew I was looking for one. And I was like, so I go to the DMV and I was like, hey, I used to have a permit. It expired. So I need to get another permit so I can go buy a bike, and then eventually I'll get I plan on getting my motorcycle license this time for realsies. So I go to the DMV and told them that, and they're like, oh, well, if you've had a permit before, you're required by law to take the road test and apply for your license. And I was like, oh, well, I don't have a permit and I don't have a motorcycle. How am I supposed to do that? The permit's just a written test. The license is a driving test. Like, they have an obstacle course, or not obstacle course, but a driving test. So I was like, how? That doesn't make any sense. There's no way I could do that. I don't have, like, my motorcycle permit expired. I can't drive a motorcycle here. And she was like, oh, well, you could just have your friend bring one. And I was like, what if I didn't have a friend that had a motorcycle? Like, that doesn't make that law, there's no way that law, I think you're reading that wrong, because that law doesn't make any sense. I was like, if you've had a permit that was expired, it would make sense that you would get your permit back again when you went back, and then get your license after that. So I went up to the DMV, and that's what they told me. So I was like, well, that's dumb. So I went back to, I had to go to class. So I went to class, and then this is the only time I've ever done this, but I emailed I looked up like who was over the DMV, and I think it was somebody in the House of Republicans, or I don't know what it was. I forget now. It's been a couple years, but anyway, I looked up who I needed to contact to get this shit squared away, because I was like, this law doesn't make any sense. So I emailed. He ended up being somebody in the House of Representatives for the state, for my district at the time, and I emailed him, and this dude emailed me back in like 10 minutes and was like, hey, I'm looking into it. That doesn't sound accurate. Give me a minute. I'll figure it out. So I go to class or whatever. He emails me back, or actually it was like his secretary or his office emails me back, but it was like composed by him. And he's like, here's the law, here's the code, here's the section, here's my name, my number. They're totally inaccurate. You can go and get you can go and apply for your permit again, but after you get your permit, while it's still active, you need to take your road test. And I was like, yes, thank you. That is what makes sense. And by the way, when I went to the DMV, the manager there, because I spoke to her too, and she had such a bad attitude. Like, I realize it's the DMV and nobody there is like gonna be nice, but she was just so like moody and just like, yeah, I'll give you your what for, fuck you, you're not getting your permit. So anyway, I went back and I was all pumped up because I was about to be like, oh hells yeah, I'm about to tell you off, but not really, because I'm very polite. So I go back and I pull up this email from this guy, and I was like, yeah, so I went and asked for the manager, and she comes up to me and she's all like, still got her bad attitude going on. It was the same lady because it was the same day. And she basically is just like, she walks up to me and I forget exactly what she says, but it was along the lines of, so do you have a motorcycle now? Are you ready to take your test? But like with a big sarcastic attitude. And I was like, actually, I have an email from your boss's boss's boss saying that you have to let me take my permit again. And you could just see the color in her face. Like, she was like, what? And I said the guy's name, and she knew who he was. Somehow he was over the DMV, but he was in like government. And so she like read the email and then goes to the back to her office for like 10 minutes while I'm just standing there at the desk like a big old retard. And then she comes back and she's like, still got this bitchin' attitude, like, I've decided I'm gonna let you take the permit again, like it was her grand scheme and her decision. And she's doing me a favor. And I was like, okay, great. So I go back, take the test, and the whole time I'm taking it, I'm like, please God, don't let me fail, because then I'll look like the biggest idiot who's gone in here. And I didn't really raise Cain or anything, but I was definitely not a happy camper. And I was like, please don't let me come in here and fail this test now, because that would be ultra embarrassing. And I think I've been at this red light before, and I don't think the sensor's going to pick me up for the turn signal. So hopefully somebody comes up behind me, otherwise I'm going straight. So I took the test, passed the test, got my permit, and then I went and bought my motorcycle, and I came back like a couple weeks later, took the road test, passed that shit on the first try, because I'm a boss. And that is the story of how I lived happily ever after and got my license back. And it was quite an ordeal to go through, but it ended up working out great, and government worked for me, which is awesome. I really didn't expect that shit to work. But so tip out there to all you young fellas, man, if you need something, see who's in charge and reach out to them. They might be able to help you out. Probably not, but I have a feeling that was the exception. But anyway, cool story and awesome. I picked up the light, so I'm going to end it on that note. Peace out. Have a good weekend or week or whatever the fuck you're having. And I'll catch you next time. Later.